All right. Hey, everybody. Scott Monday here. I'm with my good friend, Todd Bollenbach. And Todd is so kind to be with me today to chat about business to business marketing and sales and approach. Coming from a B2C background, business to consumer, I'm super green in this area. So Todd agreed to help me out. Todd, thanks for hanging out with me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Todd, just a little background. Briefly walk us through your entrepreneurial journey, your exit, and what industry you came from, which gives you this B2B context and background.
Absolutely. I started an outsourced IT consulting firm in 2004 called G&T Solutions. Grew that, and it's been a fun ride. Grew that through to 2021 and exited that to private equity. During that time, I had a co-founder that I started the business with. He exited in 2015. I brought in a new partner in 2017 to help grow and scale it. Our business was focused on outsourced IT for companies that don't have their own IT department. So mid-sized businesses, what I call Sacramento, most people call them small businesses, but anybody in the 20 to 300 employee range, we would be their entire IT department for them. So if it's everything from I can't print to I have compliance issues to we're publicly traded to growth and acquisitions to how do we handle and integrate. During that time, we acquired a couple smaller IT firms, which was a fun challenge to go through. And then that kind of set us up to getting to a stage where we were the largest in Northern California. All of our customers were based out of the greater Sacramento region, but we supported globally. They had offices all over the world, and all of our services were managed and owned by G&T. So we didn't outsource. We didn't do anything that kind of degraded our service. We were a service first organization that just truly focused on how can we provide the best quality IT services for you in a market which it's often not valued because you only call your IT person when you have problems and it's an expensive service. So we have to make sure that the value's there.
So when you were in the throes of growing that business, your customer avatar, the actual buyer of your services, was it CEO level? Was it head of IT level? When you built your avatar, what specific person were you targeting?
It varied depending on the maturity of the business. Sure. If you're a 50 to 100 person company, typically finance, not the best approach for it, but since they're in control of the money, that's where we go. We really like to be around an operational point person. Oftentimes it was the CEO, just because if you're 50 people, the CEO is heavily involved, but it's usually around a finance person that helped drive that conversation. As we got larger, we worked with a few companies that are publicly traded. Then they were mature enough to have their own built out IT department. We were co-managed with them and mostly on a compliance side. But for the majority, it would be CEOs, CFOs, COOs were our demo.
So let's think through 2018 to 2020. That sounds like the window where you were at your best in terms of acquiring new customers from a B2B perspective. I come from a business to consumer background, kitchen and bathroom remodeling, selling to homeowners. It's all about lead generation and converting leads. My newer business is a commercial subcontractor, and our customer is the commercial general contractor estimator. That is a human in a role with a large organization, very similar to how you were targeting back in 2018 to 2020. What would be your advice to someone newer to the B2B sector in terms of how to approach B2B that's different than B2C?
Yeah, I would say that the point person is going to change in every kind of B2B business, but the approach to that is going to be static. And that is relationships are key. Building those relationships with those individual people. People like to work with others that they like and that they trust. It's kind of common sense, but I think a lot of people miss it. It's those relationships and being top of mind for those individuals that we are here, we provide the service. If today is not the day for you to make a change, that's okay. We did that a lot through direct individual relationship building, knowing who our target was, what business we wanted, and who was the key person in that, and befriending them and cultivating a very honest and valuable relationship that was genuine. Associations were really strong for us, and partnering with associations, being the market leader in those spaces, being the go-to thought leader when somebody needed help and we were there to help provide it. We did it uniquely without a sales team. It's exclusively owner-led sales. Our client retention rate was magical in the 98 to 99% range every year.
Hard to get better than that.
We
Well,
were
because
very
you're just going to
fortunate
lose
later.
some through closures or acquisitions along the way. So like it seemed like 90% might be the max you could get, but you were even exceeding that.
Yeah, we worked with strong companies. So we only targeted companies that were financially strong. We looked
Mm-hmm.
at our customers as an investment in
Mm-hmm.
us. It's like we
Mm-hmm.
only want to work with companies that have a powerful balance sheet and can run a good, profitable business. And it was a sticky industry. Switching IT providers is a large sales cycle. So we would have sales cycles from weeks to years. And so we've navigated that. But those relationships were everything and giving back to what was passionate for them in their space. So we would align with anything that they aligned with, if that was charitable giving, if that was employee outreach, if that was pathways for their growth, we would adapt to them. And so we would adjust our business to help grow their business. And we were very industry focused.
So you identified the individuals that would be buyers, and that probably was more of a company by company and research, right? Knowing your industry, knowing who leads IT or who leads finance at this company or that company. So you'd identify your targets. And then what I heard you say is you would do industry events and you would try to meet them, to be with them in person in some way. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Once you started, you identified the individual and you were kind of shoulder to shoulder with them. Walk me through some strategies that you found helpful in developing those relationships. Just give me some examples of things you did along the way that you felt helped build those relationships and that connective fiber.
For us, what worked really well is building true relationships. And after that, a lot of them turned into friendships outside of the business circle, joining associations that were key to our demo. And our demo was a lot of contract and engineering space. So we worked heavily in that world and we were known as the premier provider to other service providers in that space. So they would look to us as mid-knowledge experts in their world. We would go into every relationship without an expectation of, can we get something out of this? It was just more of a true, okay, we want to get to know you more. So let's grab lunch. Let's go play golf. If we're sponsoring an event, would you like to attend and promote your company in this? A selfless approach where there's nothing in this for us. We want to help promote you. How can we help get you out there and get you more connected to something? Is there somebody that we can make an introduction to? Is there an industry that you're trying to get connected with? And how can we make the intro? When it came down to the direct business, we were very friendly with our competition. I love good competition. I want strong competition in our space. It helps elevate us all. And we knew when the timing was right to strike and try to gain new business and pull it from an existing competitor.
I hear you saying developing deep industry knowledge so that you would be the go-to when they're running up against problems that either their internal people or their current service provider couldn't handle. I heard you indicate very basic general human relationship building strategies, time together, caring about what they care about, finding opportunities to break bread or golf together or just do something engaging along the way. It's Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, jab, right hook strategy where you give, you give, you give. Then when the relationship is right, you ask for the sale or the thing.
It's just being there so they know that you're around. And then when the opportunity arises, go ask for the sale. Most of the time, we didn't have to ask for the sale. They just knew who we were and that we never gave them a hard sale. We were there when they needed us. And we would align with other trusted advisors that they used.
Gotcha.
Mostly in the accounting and finance world. So if it's bankers, because they need to finance their projects, or if it's their accountant who they trust exclusively, we would partner with them on how's the best way to, when those providers are asked for recommendations, that we were top of mind. And a lot of it is knowing what these companies actually do, really understanding the company we're trying to get the sale from. What's their outcome? What do they do for business? How do they make money? How can we charge? What are real margins in this space to understand that we're not just going in there blind? So it was managing multiple business sectors. We had our own core business that we had to make sure ran well, and then understand how these other businesses ran and made money so we could help provide them value to make more and grow as well. So if we just want to get a sale and we don't really care how you build your business, then it didn't work. That's how we were able to keep such high retention. That's how we're able to get to the size we were with the smallest customer base out there. We had a very tight customer base, but they were very good and not being afraid to bite off more than we could chew at times.
That's so interesting you brought that up, because I think you just touched on what I think are the concentric circles when it comes to B2C and B2B, which is knowing what the customer needs. I need to know what the customer needs and how they live in their kitchen or bathroom to sell the kitchen or bathroom. I need to know what makes that general contractor successful in my phase of work on their jobs to sell them subcontracting services. What you're saying is you did the same thing. You had to get to know what your customer found important, where they were struggling, where they made money, and that then allowed you to make sure you were delivering those services and your message in a way that resonated with them. Is that correct?
100%. We couldn't just focus on ourselves. We need to know what they're trying to accomplish so we can adapt our services and make sure that they grow. They succeed, we succeed. It's a win-win across the board. They're thankful that things work and that they are able to grow, and we're thankful that they're growing.
When I got back into the B2B sector with this newer business, I spent the first few years making a pretty big mistake, forgetting that at the end of the day, I'm still selling to a human. I thought, oh, it's just going to be all transactional and low bid wins. And there's an element of that in commercial subcontracting. But at the end of the day, like you and I were both at a Joey Coleman event, B2C, B2B, it's still human to human. When I got into EO, before I even knew you, your reputation in EO was one of being, and I can't remember his name, he wrote Never Eat Alone. He calls them mavens and connectors. And you were known as a connector. I saw that in EO first, but obviously that DNA, your ability to connect and to bring people into the fold is phenomenal. Would you say, Todd, that that's always been part of your DNA, or something that was mostly learned professionally?
Yeah, part of it is naturally. It's just I like to help other people and I
Yeah.
want to see other people succeed. I like to see other people win. It's exciting to be around and to be connected to that in some way. And I've always taken the approach of there's plenty of business out there for everybody. The natural connecting is just sort of built into you. You want to help other people? Great. This is one way to help and to grow. And it's knowing, if we're looking at the business front, it's like, how can I help you grow? And that may be with me or without me, but no matter what I do, that act will not go appreciated. And so if you can help others, I think it naturally come around to you and it'll help you back in some fashion. It may not be today, but it may be down the road. And that allowed us to get to a point where it wasn't transactional. We weren't the low cost. We were oftentimes 2 to 3 times more expensive than our competition. And we would have competitors after a sales process come to us and say, how did you do that? My comeback to them was sometimes a little cocky. It's like, I had it won before you even got there. It's all because my relationship was much stronger than you. They trusted me. They don't know you. They don't trust you. They trust me because they know for years, I just wanted them to win. Whatever that win was, if they needed help finding a service provider, if they needed help finding a new staff team member, if they needed help with questions, they just knew that when we spent time together, we never lead with business, we lead with relationships. We never let somebody else pick up the tab for anything. So if we're out to a meal, if we're out to anything, I didn't care if it was a vendor of ours, if it was a potential customer, we always hosted them. We never wanted to feel that we owed somebody else, but we never wanted others to feel like they owed us. They just knew that we were there genuinely to be a part of them, and it wasn't a using relationship. The B2B relationships are very intimate. It's not a one-off transaction. You want these as a long-term relationship. And if you want that, then you can't go in with, I just want to close this one deal because I want to make my quarter. It's, I want to close this deal whenever it happens, sooner the better. But whenever it happens, because I want this relationship for years and years. And that's what helped us grow and build a very strong business that allowed us to show that people wanted to work with us because they genuinely enjoyed working with us. Because there were other providers. Some did it better. Some were more technical. Some had a stronger bench than us. But what we did differently is nobody looked at service and leading from a servant leadership standpoint of, we are here to serve you and we need you as much as you need us. And together, it's a real symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, like a partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we wanted. We wanted true, genuine partnerships because when things go wrong and we make mistakes, as Lord knows we made plenty of them, they were understanding because they had more of a connection to us. Like we're an extension of them, not just a vendor to them.
Could it be that there was a drawback to this approach in that the customers had allegiance to Todd or perhaps your partner? Did the customer have allegiance to one or both of you, making an exit more challenging? Was there a downside to this approach?
There were a few downsides. Owner-led sales are tough because then everybody wants to deal with the owner. The nice thing about it is nobody can make a decision like the owner can on the fly. I'm in a room, I can change a deal term to adapt to whatever the conversation is, which a traditional sales or business development person couldn't. We tried to instill that level of ownership through our whole team.
Mm.
So we went to a team-based format where we had account managers, team leads, and technical skilled roles below that. Everybody was allowed to make decisions to best for the client at that point. And then going to a team leader format allowed us to have many owners in the discussion, and they were compensated based upon profitability. So the more that they knew, we ran heavy on EOS, we ran hard on metrics, and they knew exactly how the business was run as if they were owners. Some of them got the opportunity to become owners during this process and to help grow. That allows us to really have that kind of tight, sticky conversation. Where it
Mhm.
did hurt us is it's a slow sales process.
Mm.
If you're only dealing owner to owner, it's a slower sales process. Growing a service company is difficult because of that, because you want to keep that relationship tight. And we had variances along the way. And it got to a point where we brought people to every meeting. So they knew from the very start, yes, I might be the owner of it, of the actual business. That just means that at the end of the day, I'm financially responsible for it. But these other people that are allowed to have a very large voice in what we do are the ones who are really driving it day to day, making sure our client base knew that whatever somebody said, it came from everybody in the company. And we lead with a best idea wins mentality. It doesn't matter where that idea comes from. So when the customers were working with our team directly, they knew that everybody had true ownership. On the sales cycle, it just made it more cumbersome and more laborious at the beginning, but at the end, it paid off very well.
So empowering the team to make owner level decisions because they're operating within the parameters and the culture and the core values that you've already established.
Everybody felt aligned where people weren't jockeying for positions just for their next promotion or raise. We're a sub 50 person company, and that allowed us to have an intimate knowledge of what everybody's doing. While we were large in the number of people that we support on a daily basis, we try to keep our team tight and just try to do more with less. And so the customer didn't feel overwhelmed. As we were growing, we started to feel that the relationship was becoming disconnected at times. And so we had to revamp our whole leadership structure and how we could keep our customers feel that we're still committed to them as we are growing and getting big.
So it was a little bit of a growing pain issue.
We had some rough years though. We definitely learned from growing too fast. We learned from growing without a plan. One thing that really did well for our client base is when we started sharing with our team what our growth plans were
Mm.
and they felt that they had ownership in it, our clients rewarded from that because we shared that vision with internally and we lived it. It was our mantra on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis. And then we had no problem going to our customers and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We want you to be aware of what our plans are. And then toward the end of owning the company, we went to a very unique model, which was we want an advisory group of our clients. We want our clients to tell us what they want in our business. Let's have a quarterly conversation around it. Let's have customers in a room with us and pick us apart and say, okay, what can we do better? What do we do really well? And then that evolved into the good ones would allow us to be part of their leadership team
Mm.
and be in some of their board meetings. We were a part of board meetings for all of our publicly traded companies. That allowed us to actually not be an afterthought, that we were a forethought, that technology is a driver in our business. And then how can we be a part of it? And it really worked for us when we knew what they were doing on their side. It grew.
Hmm.
tremendously. That word of mouth got out to other businesses naturally. A lot of it is because they're all part of the same groups and associations, and we are heavy in those. And that they knew this is a true partner with you. And so that helped escalate our sales process too. It grew us as they were growing, and it worked out well at the end.
Bringing the customer into the fold and learning what's important to them, right?
Yeah, it's strong and it's good. It is time consuming. It's a lot of relationships to manage. It's a lot of conversations that you have to keep track of. It's a lot of trust and confidentiality that you're entrusted with, that if you break it once, it all falls apart. So you have to be honorable and stay true to your values through the whole thing.
Yeah, because it was likely that you'd work for two different companies that were competitors with each other, right?
We did often, and we weren't shy about it. We let people know that we work with their competitors. Our sales approach was great. We would always get somebody would say, well, can you give us some referrals to who we can talk to? I'm like, yeah, we can do that. Or we would just open up QuickBooks, turn the laptop around and say, this is who we work with. Who do you want to talk to? Just talk to any of them.
Pick a card.
Just pick who it is. And if you're like, I want to talk to them because they are our number one competitor, and if they work with you, and it actually worked out in our favor, the good companies respect their competitors. It's more of a rivalry than true competition. It's like a football team, and they want to win, but they also realize that their space doesn't work unless there's other strong rivals in their space.
Right.
So that worked out really well for them. If you work with this person and we're trying to get to their level, then maybe they figured out something that we haven't.
Talk to me a little bit about effective relationship building events or gifting or any strategy along the way that you did, big or small, that over time helped build these relationships.
Yeah, we've probably tried it all. I call it the charity golf circuit, which is you sponsor every charity golf outing that you can. Every Monday or Friday, you have a golf outing and you're out, and it's a lot of time promoting. But what we pivoted toward figuring out what key things our decision makers found value in. That's everything from supporting youth baseball, softball, and sports to charitable organizations that they are passionate about. If it's important to them, we supported them. So we would reach out to them and say, hey, I see that you're on the board for X, Y, and Z. We would like to support. How can we do that? But if you have an event come up, we would like to attend. If we're supporting another customer in their philanthropy, then we would have, say, a table to that event. Then we would go invite other people to bring exposure to them. They were very appreciative that we brought high level people to their event. One thing that worked magically is we started doing events for our customers' team. So we would put on happy hours just for their team, not for us. There might be a couple of our team members there to help facilitate and pick up the bill at the end of the night. But we would want to show that you trust us so much that we want to make sure all of your team members know who we are, not just the C suite. So if it's hot summer days, we would send snow cone and ice cream trucks out to the facilities. They have a big project coming up. We would make sure that we staffed our team accordingly. If they're a large CPA firm and they're in tax season, we made sure to adjust our service hours so that we adapted for them. That gave us more leeway in the future because they knew that we would do anything we can to help them succeed. Their team appreciated us more. So we got total buy-in from their company, and that worked really well. We've done outings where we invited our customer base to it, and we just didn't get the turnout that we wanted. We would have a big company party or event. Some of them would come, and a lot of them would be like, hey, we're busy. We appreciate you doing this, but the opportunity cost is too expensive for us just to send people to it. So if you come to us, it worked out really well. So we would go to them. And we were strategic in who we went after. We pivoted our position in our business community to make sure that we were a key person in whatever they were working on. So they saw us being a prominent source for that. And then that allowed for some natural cross promoting back to us. So it was something that they were passionate about, something we were passionate about, and we were able to grow together. What really worked well is once we started getting past the very high decision makers and started trickling down, it was magical. People didn't want to leave us because they saw us as a true coworker.
Did you ever dabble with authority-based marketing in terms of producing any type of content or resource for your customer or potential customer related to their industry? Or was it really, at the end of the day, all about one-on-one relationship building?
The majority of it was relationship building and very strong relationships that grew. When we did, we were big in speaking spaces and industry events,
Okay.
and we always tailor that toward what is changing in their industry. How can we help adapt? If it's construction, how can we talk about project access at remote job sites? How can we talk about cybersecurity? How do we share with them pitfalls of issues that other people have gone through? How can we bring technology into their space to help grow their business? So we never sold G&T. We always sold something that would provide them value. So naturally, they're like, okay, they can provide it because they're talking about it. But we adapted everything to what worked really well for them. Speaking engagements take off really well. You're instantly a trusted resource in that community. They know that they can come to you. And we would work with plenty of companies that had existing providers. And our approach is if you bring us in to help evaluate your existing IT, don't do it because you're trying to push out your existing provider. Do it as a collaborative resource. So we want to collaborate with you. Like you have an existing provider. If they're doing well, like let's just validate and gut check that. If they're not, then don't bring us in to pick them apart. Bring us in that you're really trying to make a change or you just want to gut check it. That helped in our space as well too. They saw us be industry leaders in their world, and they knew that we weren't just trying to be cutthroat and go after anything that we could just to take somebody else out.
I love that. Building relationships, human to human, being authentic, figuring out what they care about and caring about it yourself, staying involved as an owner, but also empowering your team to make decisions as if they are ownership, trying to get in front of your target audience, but providing value and knowledge as opposed to asking for the sale. Does that kind of sum up the Todd Bollenbach B2B strategy?
Yeah, I think that is it. And like one area that didn't dive into much is celebrating our customers' wins. If
Oh,
they are
love that.
recognized within the local business circle, if they have a really good new hire that's being promoted, if they just landed a new contract, then doing something for them that makes sure that they're aware that we recognize their growth.
That's so
So
cool.
you want a deal, customer? Awesome. We're going to send your office something to celebrate. We would partner with other publications and never promote ourselves. We would promote the other business. So if it's a local organization, if it's a business journal within their region or whatever that got eyeballs for them, we would always promote them, never us, because we wanted to promote their wins. Because truly, we want them to do better because that means we're just going to naturally do better alongside them.
Yeah.
And so that really went well. They appreciated that other people recognized their hard work. It wasn't just an internal thing, it was somebody from outside that recognized them. And it allowed us to, we know we don't work with you today. We see where you're going. We're super excited about our region growing. We want our community to grow. Even if we didn't work with them, we still promoted them because we knew that they were good and that one day that relationship may pan out. And sometimes it didn't. And that's okay too. We genuinely cared about other people's businesses doing well.
I think that sums it up right there. That last sentence you stated is you literally legitimately and authentically cared for your customers and your future customers. And the law of reciprocity was such that many of them along the way wanted to work with you because they liked you and they trusted you. I love the way that you brought all that together. And obviously it worked because you had a great exit. Would you say the retention after the exit was strong, or is it no comment?
There's two different types of retention, employee retention, and then there is customer retention. It was strong for a while. It was strong while we were still active and still helping grow and integrate that business. But we sold to private equity. And as the machine changed a bit, that directive from top down came and we didn't have the ability to adapt to make changes, retention fell quickly. And I don't know exact numbers, but I would say it fell by sub 50% retention for sure across team and customer base because it's just not there anymore. We did a very good job as we were growing and building to keep those relationships. And post exit, we wanted to maintain those relationships until we weren't allowed to maintain them anymore. The drive was more of a profitability driving factor. We would do deals that weren't profitable all the time because it was what was right for the customer. It's like, all right, I genuinely know your budget is X and we can't push outside of that. I'm not going to try to push it higher. So if that means we make less money, then we make less money. We'll make it up on the next time. That didn't work necessarily post transition. And I think I could have done a better job at educating our buyer on why the relationships were so important and how long they take to build. It's really hard to transition that across. And so post transaction, we probably could have done a much better job of explaining to our new buyers on what they should expect. Because at the end of the day, they want to keep it going. They want to be strong and do well as well. When we sold, our customers were okay with us selling and they were celebratory. They were happy that we did it. They liked to see that transition. They had a little bit of curiosity around what does that mean for them. We always took the approach of all of our customers signed multi-year deals that they were committed to us and we were committed to them, but we never once held anybody to that. We never had to. If somebody really wanted to leave, we would let them go, but we never had that situation. The new buyers took that same approach that if we're not fulfilling our end of the bargain, then we shouldn't force you to stay a part of it. So we've seen post-sale customers leave and come back, and we've seen them leave and move on to another provider.
Interesting. Well, thanks for that follow-up. You were a wealth of knowledge today, my friend. I really appreciate it. I picked up some things here, and I'm glad this is being recorded and transcribed because otherwise I'd have my head down the whole time writing notes because there's some strategies here that I've danced around, but I don't think I've gone all in on this approach. And I think I need to. So I really appreciate you taking some time chatting with me. Todd, is there anything I could do for you in terms of, is there anything that you would like to potentially drive or ask for related to this getting disseminated to an audience?
I've always loved talking to other entrepreneurs. I love helping other people. If there's ever something like I know scaling a service business very well and the difficulties around that in the B2B market, it's a very challenging space. People can find me, Todd Bollenbach on LinkedIn. I'm on socials. LinkedIn's probably a great way of tracking me down. I definitely have free time. I'm an active investor in other companies.
I know that you're always looking for opportunities like that in a good way, right?
Yeah, retiring in your 40s is not always the most rewarding because you kind of get bored at times. I really enjoy watching other people grow and being a part of it. I'm looking for the next thing. It's obscured on what that is because you just don't know what might potentially come around, but reach out. I'd love to talk to people.
Thanks for chatting with me, and thank you for your time today, Todd. I look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully pretty soon.
I look forward to it as well and keep growing. Love what you're
Awesome.
doing.
Thanks, man.